Namaskar. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today is the 16th of August 2022. It's also the primary election tonight in the state of Wyoming for Liz Cheney and her opponents. So I wanted to just give a little information on her chart, just a short video on her chart. I am using the systems approach to Vedic astrology. It's a very specific paradigm for reading horoscopes. Most of you who have been following my videos are aware of the systems approach and the paradigm, the principles. But we see that Liz Cheney has the first sign of the zodiac ascending or rising in her first house of Aries at 13 degrees 29 minutes of Aries. This is called Mishalagna, Aries rising. This is a fire sign and this is a movable sign. Fire sign persons are very creative, very independent, and movable sign persons are not afraid to go places and do things. We see that she is not plain Aries because she has Rahu, the northern node of the moon, in the first house at 29 degrees. By the way, when Rahu and Ketu are very close to a person's ascendant degree, it's dangerous. In this case, they're not. There's about 16 degrees separation, 15, 16 degrees separation. So that's fine. Rahu in the first house just makes a person very charismatic, persuasive, ambitious, gives magnetic personality. In her third house, she has the third sign, Gemini or Matun. So this is Shukra, Mongol, and Guru in Matun. This is Venus at 15 degrees, Mars at 18 degrees, Jupiter at 24 degrees in Gemini. Now, under systems approach, we say that for your Aries rising sign, 6 of these planets are favorable and will never cause harm. These include Sun, ruling the house of mind, education, and children. Moon, ruling the house of childhood, parents, property, fixed assets, domestic peace. Mars, ruling the chart, ruling her name, fame, health, appearance, personality, reputation, longevity. Jupiter, ruling the house of the ninth house of father, guru, religion, long distance journeys. Venus would never cause harm, rules her seventh house of marriage, relationships, partnerships, and joint ventures, and comforts living abroad. And even Saturn will never cause harm for her. There is no dreaded sati sati in her chart ever. Saturn cannot cause harm. It rules her 11th house of Aquarius. Now, some astrologers who are not familiar with systems approach may be saying, well, doesn't Venus also rule Taurus and Mars also rule Scorpio and Jupiter rule Pisces? Yes, but those are what we call non-Mull-Trikona signs. What takes precedence under systems approach are the position of the Mull-Trikona signs, which are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So Venus in the third house is extremely good because it rules the house of relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, and marriage. It's in the house of independent entrepreneurial activities. Mars ruling the chart in the house of independent entrepreneurial activities. And Jupiter ruling the house of Dharma in the house of independent entrepreneurial activities. These 3 planets are in Gemini, which is a very social sign. It's good for communications, business, brokering, intellectual property. There's a bit of duality to her because Gemini symbolizes the twins, male, female, 2 in 1, wholeness. This is an air sign. It gives a lot of brilliance, a lot of intelligence. In the fourth house, we have Surya and Bud, Sun and Mercury in Kark and Cancer. Sun is a royal planet. It's in the fourth house of childhood and parents, property, fixed assets, domestic peace. Mercury is a planet of writing, language, literature, communications in the house of childhood, parents, property. We could say Sun is a royal planet. Mercury is a messenger. She's a royal messenger. We'll get back to this in a minute. Seventh house, seventh sign Libra, Ketu and Tula. This is the southern node of the moon, Ketu at 29 degrees. Again, I'm very happy that Rahu and Ketu for her are not at 13 degrees or close to it. That would be a problem in life. Anybody that has Rahu and Ketu, especially in the first and seventh houses, close to the rising sign degree, they have some chance for some unexpected eclipse in life. JFK Jr. had Rahu in the first house exactly on his rising sign degree, which gave him charisma, fame, and fortune, but also made him a risk taker and can give unexpected calamity. So he was killed in a plane crash. Rahu throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So he did not have children. He had a voracious mind, had a desire for education, became an attorney. Rahu's seventh aspect into the house of marriage killed his wife. She was in the same plane crash. And Rahu's ninth aspect into the house of father, his father was assassinated. So that's how potent, how dangerous Rahu and Ketu can be if they're close to or exactly on a person's ascendant degree. Ketu throws an aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. It's not close to 15, 18, and it's okay because this is at 24, maybe 25 degrees, so it's not much of a problem. So that's good news. This brings spirituality into marriage, partnerships, joint ventures. Ninth house, we have Chandra in Danu, Moon in Sagittarius. This is the emotional state. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. This suggests that she handles her emotions through knowledge and Jupiter's law and justice. Moon, ruling the house of parents, is in the ninth house, which is the most auspicious house. It's the house of Dharma and Guru and Father and religion. It's also known as Bhagya, divine grace, good luck, and good fortune. So there's some good fortune for her connected with parents. And Moon rules the sun, which is Father. See, she has a royal sun and a royal sign of Cancer, ruled by the royal moon. Sun is Atma Karaka, significator for the soul. She has a royal maternal soul. Very maternal. She has five children. Sun rules the house of children. It's in the house of happiness and home life, ruled by the royal moon in Sagittarius, which is a very expansive Jupiter. Moon ruling her own home life is ruled by Jupiter, which is connected with husband and children. In the 12th house, we have the 12th sign Pisces or Meena. Shani in Meena, Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is a favorable planet. It rules income and friendships. It's in the 12th house of international ventures, foreign lands, and institutional life. So she can gain from institutional life, and government is institutional life. She can gain from foreign lands. Now, under systems approach, we say of these 12 houses, 9 are favorable, but 3 are not favorable. The 6th, 8th, and 12th houses are not favorable. They're called Dustan Babas, inauspicious houses. Planets going to the 6th, 8th, and 12th become weak. So Saturn is weak here, and that's income and friendships. She's lost a lot of friendships due to this Republican situation with Trump. So if I was advising her, I'd say that she should wear a blue sapphire gemstone, and navy blue colors, dark blue, and black colors are safe and favorable for her chart. Now this number here, 13 degrees, 29 minutes, but it's 13 degrees, we'll just call it that. This is not an arbitrary number. The rising sign or ascendant degree is very important under systems approach because there is 30 degrees in every house, every sign, 0 to 30. This number changes every 4 minutes of the day. It's very specific to the exact time of birth. This is such an important number. It's called most effective point of every house. Any planet close to the most effective point will have an impact in the house it occupies and in the houses it aspects. If it's one of the favorable planets, it gives something very positive. If it's one of the unfavorable planets, it can give adverse effects. Now, if a Multracone sign falls in a Dustan Baba, the 6th, 8th, or 12th house, then that ruler becomes a functional malefic planet, or a planet that can cause adverse effects for that ascendant only. Now, her 8th house and her 12th house do not contain Multracone signs, but her 6th house contains number 6, which is the Multracone sign for Bud, for Mercury. Mercury for her becomes a functional malefic planet. It rules conflicts and disputes, mental tension, fire, theft, and cheating against her, false allegations against her. And this Mercury is only 1 degree from Sun. So Sun is royal planet. Sun rules her father. Her father often had enemies. People were not happy with his policies. Conflicts and disputes. Sixth house is also accidents. Her father was involved in a serious accident. He shot somebody by accident. Now Sun, the royal planet Sun, very favorable for her. 12 degrees. So that's also close to the most effective point. So Sun's 7th aspect into her 10th house connects government and royalty in position with the 10th house of professional life. 10th house is called karma. So karma is the field of action, career, and professional life. So that gives her a leadership position. It connects her father with a leadership position. Vice President of the United States. But not without conflict. Both of them. Mental tension, conflict, disputes. So again, if she was one of my clients, I would say you should wear a ruby gemstone to protect your stomach, digestion, heart, blood, bones, immune system, which are vulnerable in this chart. Her father, by the way, I think he's had open heart surgery. But it'll also protect her mind, investments, her children. We want to strengthen that Sun and her political power. But for all Aries rising sign, Rahu, Ketu, and Mercury can cause adverse effects, either in the birth chart or in the transit chart. And all significant events in life are connected with the transits, especially of the 4 slow-moving planets. Jupiter takes 12 months to go through a sign. Rahu and Ketu take 18 months, and Saturn takes 2.5 years. We do consider the Dashas, Vimshottari Dashas. We only take the Mahadasha, main period or general trend, a riverbed of time. She's running her 18 years of Rahu, the northern node of the moon. Started back in May 2013. It runs until May 2031. Rahu in your chart does not cause any damage. It gives energy, ambition, persuasiveness, magnetic personality. We do have to watch it over in the transit chart to see what's going on. But look at her operating planet. Operating planet since last May 2021 has been Mercury. Mercury rules the 6th house of conflict. It's a functional malefic planet causing adverse effects. Now, Sage Parashara says to honor or propitiate or pacify, whatever term you want to use, to honor those planets that cause adverse effects at any time. So planets do cause adverse effects. This Mercury is afflicting the 4th house and afflicts the 10th house because it's within 5 degrees of the most affected point, the rising sign degree. And it afflicts Sun, ruling the government and authority, position, power. So this is not a good operating planet. And then next November 2023, she goes into K2 until December 2024. This is going to be much better for her. Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars are all favorable for her. And then she's got the 16 years of Guru. 16 years of Jupiter. It's beautiful. But here, Mercury ruling conflicts, enemies, disputes, fire, theft, and cheating against her, false allegations against her, afflicting Sun, and afflicting the 4th house, property, happiness, and the 10th house of career. So lots of disputes relative to her career. So we can see why there would be some real stress relative to her professional life during the Mercury subperiod. Now, Mercury's transit, I'm not so concerned on because it's a very fast-moving planet. So I don't worry so much on Moon, Mercury, even Venus. Those are so fast-moving. It's usually they give shorter-lived results. But the slow-moving planets can really cause some issues or some impact. So Rahu's at 23 degrees. Slide him over here. So 23 degrees, okay. He's not bothering this Rahu. He's not bothering the most affected point. His 5th, 7th, and 9th aspects are benign. He's outside the 5-degree orb of Moon. So Rahu's not causing trouble for her right now. Let's look at K2. K2 is sitting here at 23 degrees. Outside the 5-degree orb of K2, its 5th, 7th, and 9th aspects are fine, fine, not fine. K2 at 23 is within a couple of degrees. Even if you round this off to 25, it's about a 2-degree separation. If K2 was 25 degrees, that'd be 100% affliction. So at 24 degrees would be 80%. So there's about a 60% K2 influence on Jupiter right now. Jupiter ruling divine grace, good luck, good fortune, law, justice, and ruling her house of Dharma, undermining the strength of her moon, which is happiness and home life. It's bringing profound spiritual experiences to her. All challenges in life are conveyor belt of evolution. They move us toward divinity, toward waking up. So that's a bit of a stress. And we see that Jupiter is in her 12th house. This is Dustan Bhava. It's an inauspicious house. It's a house of losses, expenses, separation. Saturn, ruling gains and income and friendships, 11th house, is in her house of career, but at 27 degrees, it's an old age degrees, and its 3rd, 7th, and 10th aspect are largely benign. Sun today is at 29 degrees. That's utterly old age, only 30 degrees possible. It's about to slide into here tomorrow. Actually, later today. This evening. Tonight, I think around 6 o'clock or something, Central Daylight Time, Sun moves into Leo, which is a very favorable house and sign for her. But 0 degrees is called infant state and weak. So the first 5 degrees, 0 to 5, infant state and weak. Last 5, 25 to 30, old age and weak. So we cannot get support so much from infants or the elderly. So when planets are weak, they don't give a lot of support. But I do like the fact that it's going to go into her 5th house for 30 days. That's good. Now, Venus is sitting over here at 12 degrees. So it was kind of a good news, bad news situation. The good news, it's close to the most effective point, so it kind of blesses the house of home life, and its 7th aspect blesses the house of career. But the bad news is that it's afflicted by Mercury. So it loses a lot of power. Mercury ruling in conflicts and disputes at 24 degrees over here. It's fine. It's not at 13, and there's nothing here, and there's nothing here. So Mercury's benign right now, not causing trouble. Mars ruling her chart also is less than 5 degrees. It's under 4 degrees. So Mars ruling her chart is here in the house of wealth, status, speech, and continuation of family life. It's a bit weak. Now, here's some news for Aries. From now to middle of October, Mars will do very well in this house. Middle of October to middle of November, it dips its toe into Gemini and then goes retrograde back into this house for 4 months. So for most Aries, this is a very, very good transit. Very good. So even though it appears that because she's in the Mercury period, there can be a significant loss, Mercury afflicting Sun, government, authority position, impacting her house of career, there's one little silver lining that I'm watching carefully, and that is Jupiter over here at 13 degrees in his own sign of Pisces. Take Jupiter, slide him over here at 13 degrees. Well, what's the rising sign? 13 degrees, most effective point. So Jupiter technically is blessing the 12th house, and it might help prevent losses. And from here, Jupiter throws an aspect 5 houses away, 7 houses away, and 9 houses away. So its 5th aspect is going to give some support in a positive way to Mercury. It brings in law and justice. And it gives some support to Sun, ruling the government and authority figures. And its 7th aspect is in the house. It helps overcome enemies and obstacles and win in disputes. And its 9th aspect into the 8th house could give some windfall. So there's a remote chance. She's down like 30 points in the polls. Doesn't look like she's going to win. So the real question is, how much power does Jupiter have? Now, if this Jupiter in Pisces was in a more favorable house, I'd be a little bit more optimistic. But it is transiting the house of losses, expenses, and separation. But it does give a slim glimmer of hope for those who are supporting her. Now, regardless of where somebody falls on the political spectrum, I think she should be commended for doing her best to uphold the rule of law, the Constitution, above her political party. So we will see tonight what happens. So I hope this little video is helpful.